These were the scenes last May when Aberdeen, for the first time in so many years, lifted the Scottish Cup. And tomorrow at Pittodrie, we begin another journey. And that journey is to try and retain the Scottish Cup. Something that we've not done for, oh my goodness, such a long time. Kick-off at Pittodrie tomorrow afternoon against Raith Rovers is at 2:30. Can we get through to the next round of the Scottish Cup and get us all the way to Hampden again and retain that beautiful old trophy? Wasn't that day in May one of the most special days in our living history? And I really hope they get inspired tomorrow to get a result and to allow the fans to enjoy what will be another amazing day at Hampden. But we're facing Raith Rovers, and it's not going to be easy. It's going to be difficult. They're going to come at us. They have nothing to lose, have they? They're going to come at us with absolutely no fear. We have got to do so much better than what we have done in recent weeks. We have to give the fans something to cheer about tomorrow. It's as simple as that. And we have to win. It's as simple as that. So, welcome to the preview show, looking ahead to that game tomorrow. We'll have a soundbite from the manager. I'm also going to be talking to a pal of mine who lives in Vienna here in Austria. Because Aberdeen, I'm sure you've seen the links with a number of different managers. And what I noticed yesterday was that the odds had been shortened on one particular manager, a gentleman called Robert Klaus, who used to be the Rapid Vienna manager here in the Austrian Bundesliga. So I thought what I would do is just jump on with a pal of mine, a guy called Tom Midler, who runs a very successful Austrian English language podcast called The Other Bundesliga. And what he's going to do is just give us a breakdown on this chap so that we can understand a little bit more about him. Because you never know what might happen in the coming weeks. So I just thought it'd be interesting to get on and do something a little bit different. What I will like to discuss with you tonight is the absolute pile-on towards the football club, not the player, the football club, after Lyle Cameron signed for us yesterday. I have to be brutally honest with you. In all the years that I've been on social media, never have I seen such a negative reaction towards the club, not the player, the club. This is where I sit with it. I said to you a week ago that what I was hoping was that we were going to bring in 3 to 4, potentially 5 players who can get us through to the end of the season, where we literally rip everything up and start again. I have no issue with the boy coming in. I hope he does really well for us. My issue is the signing model. That's my issue. There is no option to buy. So all we're basically doing is, yes, we are hopefully strengthening our squad. But in the same token, we are now offering a young man who turned us down to go to Rangers, to give him the opportunity to better himself, to become a better all-rounded football player and an all-better rounded young man, which I have no issues with. But then he goes back to his parent club, where he will probably be a better player and will probably be now knocking on the door to get first-team football. And where does that leave us? What it might have done is cement our position safely in the league. But going forward, it does nothing for us. So I'm not disappointed the players here. I'm disappointed in the manner that it was done. And according to reports, and I have absolutely no reason to doubt these reports because I think Scott Burns is a very credible reporter who, in the main, gets everything just about spot on about the football club. He said that we attempted to get a clause in the loan deal that there would be an option to buy. And Rangers said, absolutely not. This is a straightforward loan, which meant, whatever way you want to look at it, we caved in. And I'm not happy about that. I don't think it's how we should be doing our business. We should not be enhancing players for football clubs that play in our division going forward. I hope he does well for us, I really do. And I'm relieved that there hasn't been a pile-on towards him as an individual. But I've never seen anything like it. I don't know what you think. But when I posted it last night asking for your thoughts, I was astonished. And I have, apart from one or two positive comments about it, I would say that the majority are absolutely against this type of move. So tell me what you think. Right, the team tomorrow, what do we think? I have a feeling he's going to be a bit more attack-minded tomorrow, Peter. So I think he'll go with a 4-3-3. So that's what I'm going to go with. Flat back four, same as last week. But in the middle, I'm going to stick Leighton Clarkson. I'm going to drop Dante back a little bit to play on the right-hand side of that three. And then I think Kenan Balalovic will play over on the left. Marco will play up front. And I think Nicholas will retain his starting position. Some of you may disagree with that, but I think these are the games where we really need to see what these guys are about and whether they are good enough to play for Aberdeen. Now, as the manager said last week, he had a bright 10 minutes, but then he faded. So it's now up to Nicholas to show how much he really wants to play for the red shirt of Aberdeen going forward. And I think this type of game could be perfectly suited for all parties to see those players who are on the fringes, how much they actually really want it. Here's your match fact. So the Dons are unbeaten in each of their last 15 Scottish Cup ties against lower league opposition at Pittodrie. And ironically, our last defeat came against Sunday's opponents, Raith Rovers, who we've actually faced 13 times in the competition. The team head into this game still looking for their first win in 2026 and our first win since December the 14th. Raith Rovers head into this game. They sit currently 6th in the championship, having won 6, drawn 7 and lost 9 of 22 games. Kevin Clancy is in the middle. Greg Aiken is the man on VAR. Don't forget everybody, Ali Beg AB TV is brought to you and supported by Saltire Energy, the global market leader in specialist drilling equipment rental. Not just that, they offer a number of different services, so rentals, torquing, testing, refurbishment and welding as well. So if any of those services suit your needs, get in touch with me. I'll put you in touch with the guys at Saltire Energy, or feel free to go direct to Saltire. Right, before we do all our other bits and pieces, let's start introducing you guys and see how you all are. So Gordon Keith came on first of all. He says, good evening. Tomorrow will be a hard game as we're not playing well. Just play the best 11 and get a result to give us confidence for the rest of the season. Richard Mickey McMillan is asking, hopefully, for 3 or 4 goals tomorrow. The Galaglass has said, after all the controversy of that loan deal, let's hope they can just get on and through. Any truth in the rumour that they couldn't do a deal with Cameron until they played Dundee and the face painter? Don't have a clue. David Horn says, good evening everybody. Craig Moyer also says hello. A lot of fans not happy bringing in Lyle Cameron on loan. Just get behind the guy and who knows what might happen in the summer. He could sign permanently. Also, I would have recalled Findlay Marshall. I completely agree. That was a lot of talk about that last night on my socials. Bruce is here. Evening Dandies, hoping for a better performance and maybe even some goals tomorrow after Peter Leven got stuck into the players. Kaiser says, terrible signing in the boy Cameron. All we're doing is helping Sevco pay off their debts to Dundee and also make him a better player for them next season. Kaiser says it's a total disgrace. Cameron Young says, hopefully get the result tomorrow and into the next round. Good to have Lyle in the door and hopefully a few more additions in the coming days, weeks. Bruce came back to say, glad to see some of the squad deadwood starting to get moved on. Here's hoping Lutz gets some more out of the door. Kaiser talking about Findlay Marshall. Surely recalling him, he said, would have been better than taking a Sevco player that can't even get a game. Graham Gibbs says, need to be patient tomorrow. Not a single easy win for Premier League teams against Championship teams. Going to be tough. I'm not sure we have the desire. Oy. Colin Gale says, I've seen posts saying there's no recall option on Marshall loan. As for Cameron loan deal, what was the club thinking? But nothing against the lad. Bruce Strother said, Cameron looked good at Dundee, so let's give the lad a chance. He can't be any worse than some of the other current midfielders we have. Ryan Ellington is here, wishing you a good evening. He's hoping for a win against Raith tomorrow. Graham Gibbs says, any word on Stephen Welsh joining us as rumoured? I don't think that one's going to happen. I think Martin O'Neill wanted him back for a reason. I don't think that one's going to happen. But I could be wrong. Dave B says, good evening, everybody. Before we start my rant, is Lyle Cameron, why a 3 to 4 month loan when we're already overloaded with midfielders? Palaversa, Polvara, Clarkson, Shinnie, all cup winners, young Kjartansson as well. A lot of talk about Antti Palaversa moving on soon as well. What I found interesting about that was that the report said that Jimmy Tillin said that he is free to move on and that Peter has not picked him, even though he has been available for selection. So make of that what you will. I don't think we'll see him again, I have to be honest. Kaiser says Carlson, Lazetic and Aushish should also follow Sokler, Ambrose and Yenge out the door. Erica Mitchell is here. She says, good evening, everybody. Tomorrow is a must-win, no excuses. Kaiser says, a cup shock tomorrow would be us winning. And he also says, I really don't fancy us tomorrow. Oh, Kaiser. Maximus says, as an Aber DNA member, what is the point in developing our youth when we take old firm loans? I have to say, and I'm not throwing mud here, I have seen a few people who have said they're going to cancel that DNA membership because they're not happy with the structure of what it's supposed to be doing and what it's clearly not doing. Again, make of that what you will. Sue says, good evening, everybody. How can they loan a player if the tribunal is pending? Is that why we have no option to buy, which would have been preferable? It's a good point. Maximus came back to say, I can't believe people want to boo him, though. We need to back him. I completely agree with that. I'll reiterate the point. I'm glad the boy's here because I think he could do a job for us. And we absolutely have to get behind Lyle, 100%. Because we're in dire straits. We really are. We're awful. We're dreadful. And we need to win tomorrow. I don't think he'll start, as you saw my team line, but I think he'll play a part tomorrow. And I hope he continues to play a part throughout. Because I think he'll bring a new dimension to us. That is so obviously missing at the moment. So I hope the support get behind him. I really do. Colin Massey says, all that matters in a cup tie is to win. Doesn't matter how you do it. Nobody remembers early rounds. Just win it. 100%. Jimbo says, this is like Ryan Christie all over again. You could throw Liam Scales into that as well, couldn't you? John Kylo is reminding everybody that Cameron turned down other teams to come here, and he's also suggesting that Rangers wanted rid of him. Alan George says, I would have brought Finlay Marshall back as well, given him a chance. Unfortunately, we couldn't. That was the problem. Gavin Mills says, hi, Ali. Hope you're well. Doing just fine. I'm upset about bringing in a Sevco player on loan. At this stage, I'm losing all interest in watching us for the rest of the season. Oh, dear. Lucas Milne says, suppose it's just a stopgap till the new manager can come in and put his own stamp on recruitment. Just a shame it's a straight loan from that lot. Mr. J says, nothing against Lyle, but this is another example of the broken player recruitment strategy. It's not worked well for us for a year. Scattergun approach, not focused, no vision or intelligence. John Kylo says there's no clause to sign because Rangers would have put a value on him, which is something they don't want to do prior to a tribunal. David Drawn says, if there's no option to recall Marshall, then that's ridiculous. You should prepare for every eventuality. AFC caught napping again. Right, lots of your comments are coming in. You're really not happy with the club, which I completely understand. I really do. Right, let's just clear the timeline a little bit so that we can get some other stuff in. But first of all, while you listen to Peter, I'll clear the old timeline and I'll see you once we hear from Peter. This is just a soundbite from the press conference that he actually gave on Thursday.
Yeah, but we've got to get the fans to shout about something as well. We need to give them something back. We need to start fast. We need to play our way. We need to attack. We've got to give them something back. They come week in, week out, travel all over Europe. So we've got to give them something back. Preparation is key. Obviously, we trained well this week. We watched Raith. We'll get into detail. We'll have a game plan. But I said it's all what we do. Yes, they have threats and they're dangerous in certain areas. But again, we've got to match that attitude, and then we can bring more quality.
Now, if you are going to the game tomorrow, don't forget to pick up your copy of Red Match Day. It's a bumper edition tomorrow. Looking back on the Scottish Cup, there's a load of interviews in there, brilliantly edited as always by the fantastic Malcolm Panton. The front cover comes courtesy of Dolly Digital. Right, I was just looking for something, so just bear with me. What did I do with it? There it is. Right, 1 second, because I just want to chuck that in because it's important. Where is it? There we go. Right, so I'll jump that in there. And one last thing to put in, and we're just about done. That can go in there. And then I think we've just got one last thing to do. Sorry guys, just bear with me. Being a one-man band, sometimes comes with its disadvantages. But hey, we're doing our best. I just need to pull that there, and I need to drag that there, and there we go. Right. So, let's get back to your comments. Simon Roy says, good evening, Ali and fellow dandies. Was reading Joe Harper's comments and he said we should have another keeper as Mittoff is not under any pressure for the number one spot. Lucas Milne says, Loban in for me. Devlin looked knackered after the 50th minute on Sunday. Possibly Keskinen as well. Bruce Strother says, bigger overall issue has to be the shocking recruitment over the last 4 years. Too many duds and project players. Leyland says, just win tomorrow, even if it's not pretty. Tommy Grote says, we will hopefully see a different Aberdeen tomorrow, leaving us at a full week on the training pitch and the players have had a decent break between games. Aberdeen FC on top says, as much as Lyle Cameron is a Rangers player, he has proved what he can do in the league, and hopefully he can do what he did at Dundee with Aberdeen. Gavin Mills says, I cancelled my AberDNA. I made it very clear my reasons as well. Graham Gibbs says, Ali, I have also stopped attending. Next 2 weeks will dictate my DNA renewal. He says he's really fed up. Maximus says, my AberDNA runs out in June. I'm fed up. I have a season ticket on top of that and the players don't look bothered. Mr. J says, the revolving door of transfers, loans and changing team selection has been a disaster. How did Clark get us to the World Cup? Team selections that are consistent and players that learn from each other. That's a good point. Craig says, I must be in the few that welcome Cameron on loan. Not the boy's fault. If it helps us short term, what's the issue? I think this is the whole point, Craig. I think in term of the actual boy himself, I don't think there's any issues with it. I think the issue is the way we've done it, the way we've conducted our business to get him here. That's the issue. It's got nothing to do with the actual player itself. John Kylo says, I think you need to put up the Samaritan's phone number at the end of this broadcast. Oh, dear, dear. Paul Hannon says, good evening, Ali and fellow dandies. Nervous about tomorrow. We'll back the boys 100%. Just hope they give us 100%. Dave B says, whilst it's annoying he's come from them, but the main point is, what are we doing loaning players from other Scottish clubs? Have we not learned? Lennox and Dandy's channel, I think it says. Lennox, great name. Loving your style, fella. Dons will win tomorrow. Believe it or not, their record this season against teams below them is now very good. Mr. J says, I still think we'll win tomorrow. Duncan Essen says, I hope they won't be singing on the streets of Raith after the final whistle. Neither do I, mate. The Gallaglass says, I would prefer we had no dealings with Sevco other than fulfilling our obligations. Craig Peters is asking, sorry if this is a stupid question. It's not a stupid question at all, mate. But who's actually responsible for the Cameron decision? That would have been Lutz Pfaffenstiel, our sporting director, Craig. Okay. Right. At this juncture, we're going to take a musical interlude. Yes, I'm going to start introducing. So you know that recently, Finn Moray has become a sponsor of the of the football club, of Ali Beg ABTV. I've got Tom coming on the other side to talk about this new manager. So hang on. So the concept behind Finn Moray is quite brilliant. Local Aberdonian entrepreneur gentleman, a fine gentleman called David Sherritt, has come up with this brilliant idea. Because he's a lover of music. He's a fantastic writer, writes brilliant poems, and he's turned these into songs. And what he's done, he's composed and produced and written an album, which he has, how can I put this? He's kind of put it through AI. And I love that he's doing this, because what it's doing, it's giving a new element to what David is trying to achieve here. There's some really big plans for this album. A lot of the songs are written for places in and around Scotland. And what he is looking for is to give people an opportunity to take a step on their musical journey ladder. He's got this absolutely brilliant song, which is written about the Bridge of Dawn, the beautiful old Bridge of Dawn, and it's called I'm the Bridge. So what I'm going to do is, if you've not seen David before, this is David coming on now, and he's talking about the inspiration behind this song. I really hope you like it, because I want to introduce more of his songs on the channel, just to give us a bridge and a little bit of a musical interlude. I think you'll really enjoy this. This is Finn Moray, I'm the Bridge.
I mean, I'm the Bridge is obviously a metaphor, and it's about coming to Aberdeen in 96 and staying in Ellen Road, and I just loved the fact that bridge was not interested in applause or likes or anything. It just did its job. It took people from the north to the south and the south to the north of the city, and it did it with a little bit of sarcasm, certainly in my head, and it's seen all of these elations and sadnesses and all of these things, and it just remained. It just kept on doing what it did, and there's something quite nice about that.
You keep moving, but you're stitched into my frame, and oh, the tide keeps turning, but I remain. arguments in fog. I've heard you pray for things to change, then blame it all on God. Some carved initials in my side, then ghosted for a year.
So just let me quickly elaborate a little bit more on the local voices that will eventually lead the live show. What's going to happen is Finn Moray is going to audition local people from the places each song comes from. And those singers will become the voices associated with the towns and regions, and they're going to perform the songs on tour this year. They will also receive a percentage share of the net profits from Aeon The Gathering, which is the name of the album. So if you are a budding singer, if you are a budding musician, and you're looking for an opportunity, please get in touch with Finn Moray. And also, what I love that David is doing is that any profit, 50% of the net profit, is going to be returned to the communities involved. So the communities behind the songs, it's all going to be directed to good causes within that area, which I think is absolutely fantastic. So please check out Finn Moray. Right, it's about time we started to introduce a pal of mine, a guy called Tom Midler. So what Tom and I did this morning was we spoke about a chap called Robert Klaus, who used to be the Rapid Vienna manager up until recently. He's currently out of a job, and if you are to look at the local betting odds, his name is very high on a list of potential managerial candidates. So what I thought I would do was have a little chat about Tom, who is perfectly versed on this topic, to chat about Robert and find out a little bit more about him and his coaching philosophy and style. So welcome to the show from the other Bundesliga, Tom Midler. Good morning, Tom. It's lovely to see you. Are you keeping well?
I am, thank you. Yeah, in snowy Vienna, a little bit dark this morning, but all good here.
Good man. Yeah, we've had a load of snow here in Salzburg recently, but my God, it's cold. Is it cold where you are?
It definitely is. Yeah, 0 degrees and minus degrees for the last week now. So those in Scotland can be used to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
They know what it's like.
Right, listen, I'm delighted that you're here. Thank you so much. So we're going to talk a little bit about Robert Klaus. So Aberdeen have been, it's this silly season. Let's be honest. So Aberdeen are currently looking for their new manager. Robert Klaus, according to some reports, mate, has been shortlisted, and the betting odds have been reduced dramatically on him. So I just thought it'd be interesting to come on and just get a little bit of information more about him. When I did my research on him, and because I also watched the Austrian Bundesliga, I must admit, when they let him go, I know their form this season was very much up and down. I get that. And it was 3 consecutive defeats and then they let him go. But I couldn't help but feel that it was slightly premature. Where do you sit with that?
Yeah, I think so as well. When you look at the situation Rapid find themselves in now, I won't go into too much detail about that, but let's just say Rapid know something or two about silly season when it comes to managers. It seems like they've got this pattern. Every time they bring in a new manager, there's a great hope. The start goes really well. The team builds up. The fans, the biggest fan base in Austria, the highest pressure job in the country here. You're really under the spotlight as the Rapid manager. You get the hopes up of the fans, and then something seems to turn a corner. You lose a few games in succession, and then it all kind of falls apart. And the same exact thing happened with Robert Klaus. It seems like it goes in waves as a Rapid manager, and now it's happened again with the next manager. People are saying, why didn't we stick with this guy? He was young, he had new ideas. He wasn't sort of one of the boys at Rapid Vienna. He wasn't one of the sort of inside club. He was an external figure with new football philosophy, and he really identified with the fans. I think at the time when Robert Klaus was in charge of Rapid, everybody was absolutely on board. Everybody loved having this really sort of highly motivated young German guy. Definitely got the Rapid philosophy. It all started off so promisingly, and I think people are now feeling like, should we have given him a bit more time?
Mate, this is unbelievable. This is like a sense of deja vu with Yemi Talene. It really is. Oh my God. So the parallels are almost identical. Let me ask you about his coaching philosophy, because he's a UEFA Pro license holder, and he came up through the ranks at Red Bull Leipzig. So he's very much got this Red Bull philosophy. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, that is right. He played there at RB Leipzig as a player as well. Had mostly a career in the lower divisions of German football. Didn't make it to the sort of top echelons as a player. but quickly went into coaching. He's still only 41, I think,
Yeah,
now. So,
yeah.
very young coach, in his late 30s in charge of Rapid. Came up through Leipzig. He's been assistant to Rangnick, for example, who's like completely transformed the world of football in this part of the world, at least. He worked with Nagelsmann as well, who was another sort of very much up and coming young coach. He's somebody I would say who just loves the game. There are some coaches that seem like preordained, like they've got
Yeah,
this football knowledge from the gods, and there's
yeah.
some that are like hardworking. You feel like they just really, this is their career and they really drive into it. And I see that with Robert Klaus, because I can tell you I've seen him at Rapid games since he's been sacked. He's there. He's got a black sort of hood up. He comes to watch the game. He's all around different stadia. You see him sort of on Instagram and stuff. He's on holiday with your like Jesse Marshes, like people like that, other sort of up and coming coaches, just people that like real students of the game. And they all still, they hang out together. He's sort of one of these young guys who's like, it seems like a part of like a wider kind of camaraderie in the coaching world, I guess. But definitely he brought that Red Bull football style to Rapid. Rapid is something of if I call them a bit of a Manchester United, I think that might be the quickest way to kind of sum them up. Big pressure, huge fan base, but behind the scenes, quite an old-fashioned club, a very traditional club, and it's hard to kind of refresh them. And he did try and do that. He brought this direct transitional football. He switched things to a 4-4-2, often with the double six. That changed to sort of a 4-2-2-2 when they were in possession, which is something we've only ever really seen Red Bull Salzburg do here with great effect and a number of league titles. He
Yeah.
brought this kind of football, but then it gets difficult because you are playing against teams that kind of often allow you to have the ball a bit more. Rapid come into most games in the Bundesliga here as the favourites. The teams are not interested in sort of trying to attack you or hit you. They'll happily let you have the ball, and the quick transition play doesn't work quite as well when it worked better against the big teams, basically.
Do you know, Tom, it's really interesting actually, because it's the first time that I've read this in quite a while where a club sacks their manager, lets him go, and then all of a sudden there's like this talk online that he might actually go back. How does that sit with the Rapid fan base? Because if our reports are led to be believed that he is going to be shortlisted and they're going to be talking to him, he's got a decision to make, hasn't he? So it's going to be really interesting to see if he would actually go back to Rapid.
I mean, Rapid have picked their new manager now, so I'd
Yeah.
say that's kind of off the table. I've heard that he turned down the Paphos FC job, which is a Champions League job as well. For whatever reason, he was apparently not interested in that. I would see him as a good fit in Scotland, to be honest. But yeah, the Rapid one was a real 50-50 split. They've replaced the coach over the winter. They've got a new man in charge now. They've also gone for somebody else very young, maybe a similar kind of profile. But the fans were really down the middle on that of, look, it's not too late to go back to Klaus. He really got on board with the fans. He really got on board with the club. He was a very well liked figure here. He seems to be a low ego guy. He really bought into this like big club philosophy. He wasn't doing it for himself. He was
Yeah.
doing it for the whole community and the club and everything, or at least gave that feeling, gave that impression. And I think a lot of fans did think it would be nice to have him back. And the rest just sort of thought, look, we did like him, but we don't want to take a step backwards. It's just
Yeah.
probably not a good idea to step backwards in football. But I think there would have been a lot of positivity still had he actually been brought back.
Tom, it's been absolutely brilliant, mate. Thank you so much for giving us that really unique insight into him. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Take good care of yourself, and hopefully we can catch up again soon.
Cheers, Ali. All the best.
Thanks, mate. Ta-da, ta-da. Thank you so much, Tom. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that gave you a sort of a useful insight into a potential new manager, Robert Klaus. Don't forget, Quipco International also sponsor us here on the channel. They are manufacturing and repair, servicing the oil and gas industry. They offer a number of services, a number of products. They do a number of manufacturing as well, based in Abu Dhabi. So if any of those that I've listed there interest you, please get in touch. Or if you want to find out more about their services, just go to their website, quipco.com. They really are the best in the region. Right, let's finish off with your comments. And then we're done. Bruce Other says... Oh yeah. Okay, Bruce. Simon says, we just need a manager that tells them to shoot at goal. God, any chance? Jim Bob says, we still need a centre-back and a midfielder. Mr. J says, yes, deja vu with Klaus. His teams do score a decent amount of goals, though. More of a front foot manager than Yimmy T. I would say he is, mate. He had, I must admit, he had Rapid at in spells, playing some really good football. But again, I don't really know why. But after playing really well, getting to a couple of cup finals, getting into Europe, they just fell off a cliff. Honestly, it was a sense of deja vu. David John says, in regard to the Lyle Cameron thing, David John says, Scott Burns tweeted last night that it was very much down to Lutz knowing Danny Rawl. Grim Gibbs said, hang on, let's go back. Oh, now you're being cheeky, right? Kaiser says, Ali, blow the dust off your microphone and give us a song. David John says, don't give him any ideas, Kaiser. Grim Gibbs says, you obviously have not heard Bad Boys Inc. What are you asking Ali to sing, mate? Hey, you cheeky bugger. Kaiser says, did they sing like? I thought they were more of a dance troupe. Oh, mate. John Kylo. Ali was more of a body in Bad Boys Inc. Oh, my God. Seriously? Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to, just to settle this argument, for the next show, I'm going to stick up a video of us singing a cappella. No, in fact, I won't, because I want you to keep watching. You bunch of cheeky bandits. Honestly. Kaiser says a cross into the box would be nice for a change. Sugarland said the bookies of Raith Rovers at 5-1. Leland says, Ali, is it a miracle if we put a cross into the box? Oh, dear. Right, I'm going to call it a night. Cheeky bandits, honestly. So, I'm going to pose a wee question. So, as you know, before we finish off on a previous show at this point of the proceedings, we always like to wish the lads the very best of luck, which I absolutely do. That doesn't change. But here's the thing. What I want them to do is show us how much they want to be an Aberdeen player. That's what I want to see. Show us how much you value putting on that red shirt and playing at that stadium and playing in front of those fans who continually back you week in, week out, come no matter what. So let's see what you're made of tomorrow. Because tomorrow is a different journey. A journey to hopefully retain a trophy. Let's see how much you want it. Good night, everybody. Take good care of yourselves. Have a safe journey if you go into the game. And I'm going to see you on Tuesday, not Monday. I'll see you on Tuesday night for the review show. All the very best. Stand free.